All right. So this vid, I just want to do it just to deal with some drawing today. This is actually the first time recording in any fashion like this, right? Normally, I have this recording setup I have for my studio area, for my drafting tables and stuff like that. Um, but since when I talk about digital drawing or just when I'm doing any type of digital drawing, and I'm talking, I prefer for it to be viewed from a third person perspective. So actually, that's how I like to view other artists who are drawing. I prefer to look like for the camera to be like I'm over their shoulder, than it to be the actual screen itself. Because to me, the when you're talking and it's just a screen capture and the lines are just being made or whatever it seems strange. It seems disconnected, right? It's not like watching for me, it's not like watching like when I do let's say like SDF modeling or animation or something like that, and it's just a screen capture because there's so much going on. There's a three dimensional space. Um, anyway, so I just wanted to talk and change the venue up a little bit and um, and talk about something I never talk about, which is actually drawing, which is something that is like my fundamental. This is the funniest thing. I gotta get used to this screen too because the controls. I'm used to my controls being mounted right on the screen, but this actually has a separate controller that so I just have to get I always have to get used to it again because I spent a lot of time working on the screens that had the controls mounted on it. So, but this is a bigger one, so no big deal. And this is not a technical thing, so who cares about screens? All right, who even? I'm not even talking about the software that I use. Right, I'm just talking about just drawing in general. So here we have this is one of my mech units, right? So you get the basic principle behind how I approach, my ideas of design and concept. And this is before SDF, right? So I'm always working with positive and negative space, right? So let's say I'm just going to come off of him real quick. Let's just pull up a new one. Let's just create a new sheet. This is me talking in general and testing, right? This is really like a test to see if this actually records well. Do I like looking at it and stuff like that, right? Oh, okay. And also this is like if you ever for anybody who has ever felt like maybe you've gone, a lot of you cats are much older now than you were when I taught you, right? So if you've ever gone like like really really far away from what you enjoy doing and stuff like that, um, you can always find your way back home. You can always find your way back home, right? Art and artists are a constant, right? We're not like and art isn't like um, the rest of the world where if you talk to somebody in your 20s or something like that, or was your professor or your whatever it may be in your life, right? But it's early stages, and then all of a sudden you talk to them like 20 years later or something, then it's like they're a totally different person. That's actually not how art works, and that's not how artists work either, right? Art is a constant, and so are artists. And I'm being reminded of that every time a previous student contacts me, with great news about what they're doing in their career and everything like that, and I'm like, man, that person's the same exact person that I remember teaching, right? Or aiding, because some stuff is not just teaching; it's just aiding, right? Then I realized, wow, art is art and artists just they're just a constant. They just get better or more mature with age, right? Like I have no like I'm just doing this intuitive thing because my hand was like it just couldn't sit still on the screen as I'm talking, right? So I have no idea what I'm doing. It just need to do something. It just need to do something, right? So when I first started to do the digital drawing stuff, let's just talk about that real quick, right? The digital drawing stuff is um, it was I always had a hard, very, very, very difficult time. let's go. Let me just go to another layer then, real fast. Right, and then let me pull up one of my pen. This is one of my great pencils. Yeah, this is my favorite pencil. Right, and I was trying when I draw. So this is like a one to one. So when I draw on paper, right, I draw just like this. I start with a circle, right? I usually go like this, and then I start breaking it down, right? I'm actually just drawing intuitively now, so I have no idea where this is going. I'm following whatever my intuition is telling me. Um, and I start drawing just like this, right? This is like I don't know a traditional thing, yeah, traditional thing. Um, and I start going like this, right? Now this is how I normally draw, but for some reason, when it came to the early Wacom tablets and stuff like that, I could never I could never get this level of comfort or how the line looks, as Adewale would say, how the mark is and stuff like that. It was never adding up for me. It very it wasn't difficult. It was just I felt uncoordinated. That's the only I can describe it. It's like whatever was going on with the technology at the time just wasn't syncing with me. Let's see. This is gonna be is it gonna be a chick? Yeah, I guess it's gonna be a chick. Somewhere in here is a chick. Somewhere in here. Right? But it start like this, right? So this is just the if this vid turns out good then or records well, then I'll actually do some original stuff as normal, right? So I would draw like this, right? So this is how I draw, and you notice I'm going over lines over and over and over as I'm building up. But that's just how, and if you're drawing in this manner, it works. But you see, I do a lot of scribble line work type of thing. Let me get where the elbow is here, okay? And let me just, I guess she's holding or wielding something, and I've been having these visions of like the horned goddess thing. That could be like, Aries or a Capricorny kind of feminine type person. But let me see. I'm just sketching it and something like that. But it wouldn't go like that. It would be wisping back, right? But I could never get comfortable with it. But now, because of the advancement of whatever code they're using to sync tablets and stuff like that, it actually works. And actually, I feel I developed this pencil. I have a pencil set up in this application that it feels just like I'm drawing on vellum. Because I like to draw on vellum because everything I do in the traditional studio sense, you would draw something. Let's say if I would draw a I don't know if you guys can even see anything. Let's say I would draw a head, right, or something like that, and then that would be the first layer, and then the second, and then in vellum, the next layer would be, where I would go in and start to actually flesh it out, right? And see, here comes this elfish face again. Always comes up in my drawings. She always comes up in my drawings, right? Um, so let's go for her then, right? And then you would flesh it out into another layer, okay, right? And then you can go into then we would go into yet another layer and start to add all the other stuff like that, like necklaces or whatever needed to, whatever is needed for this particular character. Let's say she's like some kind of elfish space unit chick thing, right? With a spacesuit thing on her and whatever it is. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully that's recording, right? Okay. And you start, and that's how we would do it. Constant layers and layers and layers and layers and layers, right? So the point is, the first initial, uh, when I was drawing digitally, when I got comfortable, when I developed the pencil that I have, and I was like, oh man, this is so cool because it allowed me to do all kinds of cool stuff. All of a sudden I felt had full control, so I could all of a sudden, any character, any face, any body, any posture, any action pose, anything I needed, I could just easily draw it out. Because right now I feel just like I'm working on paper. Right. Let me just move it over here. So let's see. Right. Soft chin. Right. Um, elf, elf, and let's say what kind of elf? Elf with big hair? I have no idea. I'm just playing around right now, so hopefully you guys are humored, right? Right. Um, yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. Right. And then if it's one of my traditionals, um, then you have the bustier-ish kind of approach to the form, which is just more of a doll baby kind of a look, right? More of a doll baby look. Okay. Which goes along with the femininity of the face structure. But so anyway, let's okay. Oh, okay. Well, let's give her something crazy. All right. All right. Let's say she's got some kind of futuristic thing going on there. I don't know what her hair is doing. She should have some kind of hair thing going on. Maybe like a sort of like a mohawkish kind of thing. I'm just playing around right now, but you get the idea. So when I developed a pencil, that means that hey, I can actually draw. I felt that whatever I was able to create mentally, or imagine I could draw, right, which was great, which was cool. Um, Let me just give her some soft. See, I'm gonna start going, and then I'm not gonna be able to stop. Okay. Now, but the thing is this. So that's cool. That for me that was cool. I was like, okay, fine. I finally got the groove of it and everything. And so this is like, I guess this is what I'm gonna call it. Uh, Finding your way. I guess I'll call this video like finding your way back home. Because for me, drawing is my foundation. So whenever I draw, something just lights up in me. It just brings every aspect of art back in me. And then as soon as I finish drawing it, then I want to model it. Then I want to rig it. Then I want to animate it. Then I want to tell a story about it. Well, not even tell a story about it because the story, whenever I start to draw, the story of the actual character starts to come out. Like this the horn goddess, right? You guys may not be able to see it, but this is actually the horn goddess. I haven't drawn it before, not before. It's just this idea that keeps on coming back in my head, the horn goddess. And automatically as I begin to manifest her or draw her, then the story of who she is begins to come out. So then my next thought is, okay, I need to model her, I need to rig her, and then tell her story. So I'm very story oriented. I'm not fixated on anime. Like, oh, let me copy anime, or I'm not fixated on let's say a certain robotic style like Pat Lober or any of that stuff. My whole thing when it comes to art is a story. And the very first thing you need to do, just like a writer, is you need to draft out the characters. And this exactly what I wind up doing is I draft out the characters, even if they're robotic or biomechanical. They're all still characters in one way or another. Even if I draw a tower, right? It's all if I draw a tower or something like that, right? Like from my droid animation stuff, right? If I draw some wispy tower, well, you can't really see. There's not enough information in just a simple line. But I'm about to show why I changed up, right? Everything is a character. But the reason why I even talked about this is, as a matter of fact, let me just save this because I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe she can go somewhere. Maybe these are all great, meaning like the good starting ideas. So let me just type this in, horn god, horn goddess. Okay, horned. Yeah, I can spell right? Okay, so but this is how I normally draw, and it just fleshes it out, fleshes itself out, fleshes itself out, right? That's how I normally draw, like studio wise. Um, but then there's the gap that you can bridge so coming home to something, it's not starting over again, but it's like reminding yourself of your foundation, and then you can kind of see how everything fits in after that. Well, yes, I'm able to replicate exactly how I draw when it comes to drawing studio wise. Yay! That was a big achievement. but but there's something I noticed while I was drawing that I could do digitally that I couldn't do. I can't do it with my Pantone markers. I can't do it with brushes. I can't do it with anything, which is this approach, which is what you see in my biomechanical collection stuff, right? And we don't need to make a new file for that. We're just gonna jump up to a new layer of something, right? Which is I love working in pen and ink, and I love Sumi brush stuff. But some of the stuff I don't have a lot of as much patience for. Um, but because like myself, and I know my counterpart, she had a big thing about this too, like black and white things being in high contrast, stuff like that. Um, I always wanted to get to that point with within the drawings for like comic book. You wind up inking, you're penciling, and then you've seen, hopefully you've seen in my video, you've seen some instances of my comic book style, where I had my friend who's a professional inker ink my pencils and everything like that for me, which is great. But that's a whole, like, it's so multi-stage. My thing was, what if I can get there just in one go, and that changed everything, right? That changed everything. So just like this stuff here, when I go like this, matter of fact, this thing ain't even big enough for me right now. There you go. Just when I go like this, for me, this means more to me than any line can mean. Like, I don't even know what it is yet, right? But it can be a tower in a wasteland, right? Hopefully you can see that. It can be a tower in some kind of spiraling tower in a wasteland where there's something minuscule, flying towards it to land on it, right? Stuff like that. And then if you put in like a half moon, right? Then all of a sudden you have a planetary environment, right? Now I see all this, so it's not like I'm actually drawing. I intuitively see all this, and but because of the type of line I'm using, as the type of line I'm using, it I'm able to capture what my intuition is driving me towards instantly. So a lot of the drawings you see me do for my collections and stuff happen very, very, very fast. The drawing themselves happen very fast, and it's usually everything is based just like SDF. SDF came after I started this process, and so what's the example? So like this is like some kind of tower structure, okay, some kind of structure, vertical tower structure, right? Okay, in some kind of sci-fi ish kind of environment. Let's go to something else. Um, the what I so SD how SDF fit in, right? So SDF is just not me. Oh, this is just the latest thing of mine. For me, it's actually very personal, actually, because it allows me to work intuitively, and anything that allows me to work intuitively, I take it very personal. Um, so let's say I'm just going to do, let's say, a mechanical head. I think that's what I'm about to do. I'm just saying it, so I'm like, oh, hope that's what I'm about to do, right? I don't have. Remember, I said before, my traditional drawing, I usually go like this. And if you see me do like the drawing for the commander or the drawing for Andromeda, they're working with a very smaller line, and I'm starting like this, and I'm going. Right, ooh, Andromeda's going which way? I'm always draw to the right, so Andromeda's like this. She's like this. She's baby doll style approach, right? Which is the way I photograph too. Very whenever I have the arcing backs like that, that's what I call baby doll. Um, right? Starts like this, right? And you saw that if you see in the videos, you see I work with like a smaller line, right? But it takes longer, but it's a little bit more refined. When I do the mechs, so that's how I would do like Commander and stuff. The Commander or Andromeda, right? They start off with this type of approach. When I do mech is like big, heavy line. Like I'll even start with that circle, and I'll just go like this, right? So this is mech. So in mech, when I work with mech, I'm automatically working with shadow, right? It doesn't matter. Like I'm clicking on this button. I don't know what I'm doing. Ooh, wow, where am I going with this one? It doesn't matter. Oh, it's not even a mech. It's like almost like a vehicle going in this direction. Holy crap. It's going in that direction. See, I told you I don't know what I'm doing. Um, and then what happens? You go, well, Brent, it's like a vehicle or something like that that's coming in this direction. But it's very just like SDF. Well, how I started to approach this way of drawing. First off, I'm actually drawing the shadow. I'm working in shadow. So I'm not drawing the shadow of the object. I'm actually drawing a shadow that then reveals an object. And then I work a lot of positive and negative. So I wind up subtracting. So I have a very hard brush, and I wind up subtracting. And I do a lot of this in my drawings. You see this a lot, right? So I have the because my whole thing is this. I fell in love with my own art, right? I like my line work. I like whatever I draw so much. I want to leave it. I'll even do stuff like this. I'll even like if I say, "Oh, this needs to be bigger," I won't redraw it. I literally would just copy it. Not because I can't redraw it, but I don't want to redraw it. I don't want to lose it, right? I'll actually copy it and can I draw it? Can I size it up? Yeah, you go. And size it up and put it into place. And I'll leave because I want to hold on to all the line work that I started off initially with, right? Um, which is actually that's hard. That's exactly how I do it. Um, and so that's why I wind up with a lot of good or very, I call it very expressive line work throughout the piece because I hold on to my lines. I don't in traditional stuff. I would go back. Let's say if this was Andromeda in the traditional sense. Let's say her pose, but I draw backward. That's just so you know. So like Andromeda's not facing this way. I drew her this way, and then I think I drew her that way, and then I flip her. Right. I almost always draw backward. So then I'll draw her and just I'll draw this direction for a while, and then I flip back again. I constantly draw like backward, forward. I'll even draw upside down. Right, it's easy for me to draw upside down here. Um, you'll see in the sometimes. Well, I don't know if it shows up in the recorder, but I draw upside down. Not to be drawing upside down, but I can see different things of the form. Let's say if this is Andromeda or some or from that world that she was from, right? She's got like that arm. Let me cut her down a little. Cut the pen down. See now I'm drawing, so I'm kind of rambling a little bit when I'm talking. So hopefully people can. I don't know what her other hand is doing. I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to remake her. And let's say she's got a let's say this from the Andromeda world, right? Um, Not Andromeda. It's yeah, Andromeda. Yes, she's Andromeda, right? So basically, these androids and beautiful dress thing going on here, right? And this is how I would start. And I would do it upside down because I can get the flow better, like this. Like if it feels right, like look at these great lines. If it feels right upside down, then when I go right side up, it's gonna work for me. I feel like, oh, it worked for me. Then I go, oh well, I don't like that area here. Now bear with me because I'm drawing, so my mind is not moving at a mile a minute. Um, I'll just move this line in. See, it was originally here. I like the line. I like the line, right? Um, but I'll move it in. I'll either tuck it in, or I'll position it where right there, right where it works with right where it works the composition. Now, obviously, this is a little, this is a little out of proportion and stuff like that. So I'll just, as I work you'll see within the drawings that I'll sit here and I'll just move it up, right? I'll begin to fix the proportions a little bit, but I'll hold on to the line work. I'll hold on to it, and then I'll just subtract wherever I need to subtract. Oh, too big. Wherever I need to subtract. I don't like, you know, like this style of tablet. They do the whole, like how Wacom does the whole, the eraser is here. But I don't like flipping my stuff. I don't know why. I'm used to. I just want to just select the eraser and just erase, right, and just have it as a hard. All I care about is it erasing cleanly, right? Let me just break her out like here. And usually it's never like this. I don't draw like this. I don't erase like this. It's usually a stroke, like that. Okay, like it means something. Okay, um, and then or I may have to block like in here. I have to block this out because that needs to be blocked out. And the same thing in the head area, right? But then I'll put in maybe another structure. Like I have no idea what she's doing up here. Let's say the Andromeda type stuff. I have no idea. Right now, to some people, just look like squiggly lines, right? And then maybe I'll give her an angel, like my angel thing, angel bun in the back. And it may not make sense right now, but I generally go back in and I cut, right? So I'm actually cutting in, right? This cutting process is called subtracting, right? It's generally used in sculpting and stuff like that. It's not something that you do traditionally in studio when it comes to drawing, because you can't go back and cut into an ink drawing. I mean, you can go in and do what I do, which is I'll use white acrylic or I'll use a white marker, but it's not as fast as what I'm doing. You got to wait for stuff to dry, come back, go over it one more time. So it's not intuitive like this. Um, so anyway, so this process became the way of working. Now the only thing I don't like, what the fuck? Don't put buttons on the damn pen like this. Even though mine doesn't go anywhere. I disconnected it from whatever it's supposed to do. Um, but either case, but either case, hopefully, if you have a good pattern recognition, you can kind of see somebody blossoming in there somewhere. I'll break her out a little bit more, and I do I don't just never record myself live. I do demonstrations live as far as stuff when it comes to drawing, or I'll do a team led walk through storyboard, draw it all out and stuff like that. But never having to show my home studio process, right? So anyway, it's cool. I actually feel like I like this. So it's like hopefully people can understand it a little bit because I'm actually liking it. So, and if I actually like it, that means I'm gonna start doing a lot. All right. So you start to see her compared to here, even if you couldn't see her before, compared to this structure here, you start to see her, right? Now, matter of fact, let me just break this out real fast. I don't know how long I'm going. Golly, this was a test. Oh man, I'm having too much fun. This was a good idea. This was a good idea. That's what I want to have. I want to have some fun. All right. So, okay. So let's say, so she's over here somewhere, right? But let's say the difference of the approach. So the big block. Let's say this is a okay. Is it chicken walker? I don't know. Let's say because I in my everything walk. So let's say right chicken walker. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that. Right. You see, I do these weird little lines like this. It's all intuitive. I just go with it, and then see where it leads me. Right. And see where it leads me. I have no idea. Cockpit, pilot. See, now I'm thinking logic. Now I'm actually thinking pilot. Just trying to get myself grounded a little bit. No, I'm not gonna automatically. I feel myself leaning towards drawing the harb, and I'm like, don't draw the harb. You've already drawn the harb, right? But we don't work with some shapes here. We just work with some basic shape stuff here, right? We gotta put some antennae, because how else are they gonna communicate? Can put some engine stuff back here, and then all of a sudden, these areas here. Let me see. These areas here become nice little, nice little areas where light is hitting, like this top area here, like this top area here. That's where light is hitting and stuff like that. And so that's what I mean. Everything I'm drawing, I'm not drawing. So when I draw Andromeda, I'm actually drawing with line. What I mean by that is I'm drawing like a frame, right? When I do mechs, I literally, almost everything though, even if I was to draw Andromeda again now, I draw, I draw in shadow. Everything I'm drawing is the shadow of the form, the shaded portion of the form. And then then I pick it out, right? Let's see. Okay, and let me just do one. Now I never really go this hardcore when it comes to erasing, but it's like I didn't have any other. I like the one eye thing. I didn't have any other choice, right? So I do lines like this, right? And then all of a sudden that's the shaded version, right? But that I don't want to do. I don't do. See, that was hokey. That move was hokey. So we don't do that. It's very much. And then come back, come back, come back. We can do the line again. We can do it again. Well, that's even better. That's even better. Goes with the form. So it's more of a pill. let's say he was more of a. I don't want to do. I don't want to do an eraser because sometimes when you erase, you it's like it's like I'm fatiguing my muscles or something like that, which once again throws off how I then approach the next move. I don't know. It's like a dancer. If you're doing a certain move too many times or something like that, it can you can start fatigue or whatever it is, a certain limb. I don't know. And then when you try to do another, and then you're supposed to go through the overall form. You got to take a break so you can get everything kind of back together again. At least that's how I'm thinking about it. Um, there you go. There you go. See, all this stuff is digital stuff is easy. Um, Control D. Right, right. So he's like some kind of chicken walker, something, something, and we just start get rid of information that doesn't that's not helping right now. Right. It's like hitting buttons because I'm used to have everything being here going, but then those screens I have here are smaller. Those are only 20. This is like 27. Those are 24s. Um, but the funny thing is that the 50 more than 50% of the biomechanical series they were drawn on a 17 inch on a 17-inch screen. So this is way giant. Wait, so I should be able to do a whole entire universe on here, right? Um, but anyway, let me just wrap up with this. So we can have some structures back here, right? Now I don't want to think. I'm working on harb now, so I don't want to think too much harb style. There you go. So you see how one is catching light and the other one just falls straight into shadow, right? So that's literally how. And then I can cut this here. Don't ask me where. That's what I mean by intuitive drawing. I'm telling you. Don't ask me where half the ideas come from. Don't ask me, right? And then all of a sudden we start to roll into something, and then this becomes a tray. Yeah, yeah. See, I start getting carried away. This becomes something down here, down there. It can become like that, and then we start to do something, and then there's a big question mark here. Boom. That's for the actual. That's for the actual limb. I'm not sure what's happening here though. Like that. That's a better groove. Something like that, and then we dip it down. No, not like that. Oh yes, we can. Yes, we can. Right here, and then we go like that. So it's like a well now lends back to that other drawing because now it feels like there's some kind of shape here, right? Some kind of shape here, something like that. This is how it develops, right? Now I see things are off, and I said before that I would flip it, right? I would flip it around just like this, and I would say, "Ah, oh, well, this is kind of crazy. I don't know if anybody in the world understands any of this stuff, because art is a language, right? But as I start to go, I'm like, oh, I can do that. That's actually doable. I'm going faster now. I know not rambling, but I'm going faster. So hopefully, I'm not confusing anybody, and I'll just change. I'll just fix my perspective on stuff, right? But this process, this whole adding and subtracting and everything, I was like, oh, this was literally my holy grail, right? Um, and then when SDF came along, I was like, wait a minute. This reminds me of my new way of drawing because I'm sitting here, I'm with SDF, I'm making a shape, right? I'm making a shape or something, and then I'm cutting into it, right? Which then makes it into something different. Like I don't know what I'm doing over here. Okay, so just bear with me. Which makes it into something different. If I start to when I cut into it, right? Nothing is ever and everything's adjustable, right? That's how I draw mechs. That's how I draw now almost period is using this type of approach. This is also exactly how I think when I'm doing SDF. So it's perfect. Now this is important to note because like with everybody knows I'm a big proponent of sub D. So for sub D modeling for and I can you see her coming out here? I can see her coming out here. Let me hold on. Let me get back my thought. You can see her coming out, right? Right? Someone in here is somebody from the Andromeda universe thing. Somebody in there, right? She's in there. All right, all I gotta do is go like this. even with a heavy line. There you go. And then you can start to see her manifest herself out of there. But then not that heavy head like that, because that's like for the more sinister looking characters that I design sometimes. But anyway, she doesn't have the baby doll face yet, but it'll come. But you see how that's developing. But you see how I turn when I reverse it, and then I would just go in and clean up. This was a good idea, because then I would just, you see, I'm just refining. And it doesn't need to be perfect. And then I will literally, you see in the videos, if you watch the time lapse for a while, you'll see I'll do like a line like this, and I'll do it over and over and over again, because I'm trying to get, all I want to do is get that gesture in there. I don't want to go like this. I don't want to go, because it doesn't come across the same way as that, right? So you'll see me do it over and over and over again and hit undo. Like I'm gonna hit undo again because I can see it's blocking in. I don't zoom in when I draw. I only draw at one perspective, but for the video, I'll do it like this, right? Oh, see, I can't get it. There you go. See, and I just got it, pretty much, right? Right? Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. Okay. Okay. And that's what I literally do. And that's why you see in the videos, you'll see a lot of that. You'll see a lot of me going like this, because I'm constantly testing to see what the weight, or how my pen is reacting before I go and jump into something else, because you can get away with all that digitally, right? So before I tried to make digital imitate the studio, which I was able to achieve, and then I said, okay, but let me take advantage of the digital. Let me see what the digital has to offer, basically, and that's when I came up with this approach, which is, it may look a little studio-ish, but it's strictly digital. Like there's you can't do this type of thing this quickly in studio. But I don't try to be hokey. Like I'll do like a little copy to move stuff around. But everything I have to do is technically what I call hand drawn, hand drawn, hand drawn, hand drawn. Right? Let me just say, let me control D it, and let me just okay it. I don't like doing all this control D. Once again, I just want to. I don't not a lot. That's why you don't see me working in Photoshop. Like, why in the world would anybody draw in Photoshop? Now I know a lot of professional illustrators draw in Photoshop, but I'm like, what? Right? For me, it's not as fast or as intuitive. But this application, you can do a whole bunch of other stuff, but it does this stuff wonderfully. In other words, it allows me to work smoothly without tripping out or anything. Um, let me just cut this in like that. All right, it begins to suggest something, right? So that's basically it. Let me just flip over. This gives you an idea of how I approach drawing digitally now, um, and how it's not what you may think, and it's way more intuitive than some may know, um, and and at the same time, it's very hand done. As I said before, whatever line I have, I try to hold on to the line. I try to hold on. Whatever squiggly line, I hold on to it, hold on to it, hold on to it, hold on to it, hold on to it. Matter of fact, I see something there that needs to go. So let me before I wrap the video up. So some things I'll erase for, some things I'll just select out and delete if I'm trying to hold the line. Something like that, right? Just trying to hold it, okay? Just trying to hold it, okay? And let me just get rid of my block here. Okay. All right. So that'll give. Hopefully that gives you. Oh, she needs a. Does she have a head thing on? I don't know where her eyes are anymore. Anyway, she needs to be developed. And because her head is too. Wait a minute. See, like here, I'm getting ready to wrap up, but here, now I'm in tune with my devices now, because I didn't even look for the selection thing. It's not. It's all just happening now. Her head would be up here like this, right? Okay, and then I can come back in, and then somewhere in here, I know I want it to break, right? And then her breast area would be out like that, and so on. It's gonna roll, roll, roll. It's gonna roll. Right now, the center line, there's like this weird center line thing that's not gonna that's not helping me at all. Okay, right. As she begins, oh, and that baby doll is a little too high up. There you go. That's still that's not as baby doll. That's more aggressive. That's not soft enough. There you go. Something like that, right? Okay. So you see how it's developing, right? And that's exactly how I work, right? So it's not about like sketching, 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 sketching. I actually work along with the software and allow it to, not software, but yeah, the because it can capture stuff immediately, like a big ink line. I work with that and allow it to be able to express the form from the shadow version. But anyway, this was just a test to see if recording from this angle and stuff like that would be helpful, and if could I bridge the gap between like because I was set up originally to do studio stuff like this, um, but then I love drawing digitally, um, and so I want to be able to capture that. But once again, I didn't want to capture it on a capture screen, even though I do that all the time with time lapse. I want it to be more of a session, like a studio session, and I think I was able to do it. And somewhere in here is a bot that's ready to be defined, and it's almost like some kind of transport, not a transport bot, like a labor bot or something like that, or some kind of unit of some sort. But anyway, oh, and everything I do is based on. So if you see how I draw, last thing I want to say is based on like my signature. So my signature is this, right? That's basically my signature is there, right? If you look at the line work of my signature and you look at you look at this stuff, you realize that's pretty damn close. That's right. That's pretty close. It has that kind of feel to it, right? So, any case, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is like first time, so it's just a test. So let's see how it works out.